Going on? Hope you're all doing great. Today I got two opportunities for you that I found out while I was screening a few stocks. One that has great potential. Let's start off with that. That is Suryoday Small Finance Bank. So the reason why I like this is first of all it's a pretty small cap company. It has great potential to grow, especially with the country growing. So definitely even the banks would definitely grow. That would be the first thing that would grow. Pretty obvious thing there. The PE is pretty good. I wouldn't say it's just actually undervalued even compared to its median, and even compared to its competitors, it is undervalued. There is growth, as you can see. Its profit growth is there as well. Price to sales is pretty decent, even though we don't really consider price to sales when it comes to banks, but it's pretty decent. It's pretty close to its book value. If you see the other banks, they're trading pretty far from the book value, especially small finance banks. And the ROC and ROE also are pretty decent. And if you look at their, as I already mentioned here, that it's growing every year. But if you look at the profits again, you'll see that it is growing every year. I mean, every bank had this. Most banks had this at least, especially in the smaller sectors. And you can see it's turned around pretty well. And there is growth. And I see this bank growing even further. They've increased the number of branches and the points of contact. So I don't see anything wrong in that. Though I do see that the promoter holding is pretty low. That's all right. When banks usually grow, the promoter holding does decrease. Very few banks truly have their promoters holding a big chunk of the share. It's not like manufacturing or some of the other industries. Um, the DIs have decreased their stake quite a bit, and so have the FIIs. But if you see some of them over here, there's some strong hands here as well, but that's not too alarming. So it's probably why this is a good time to buy because they'll be buying this as well. I mean, they'll be looking at this stock as well. Probably it'll be on their watch list. So looking at this, you see that the fundamentals are great. There's nothing wrong with the bank fundamentally. This is where we can go into the technicals. So this is what we actually try to do. We try to catch these early. So if you open the technicals, let me just open Suryoday Small Finance Bank and open the chart. And looking at the technicals, you will see that, yeah. So when it was listed just about a couple of years back, it was listed at an all-time high, and now it's actually it fell down quite a bit because of COVID and those losses and that decrease in revenue, and this has actually come back even higher than before. So technically, I mean, fundamentally, if you look at it, it should be higher than this. And let's look at it technically now. What do we have here? So we have this inverse head and shoulder kind of pattern, which would be from the future, I'm guessing. But right now, what we have is a clear, very small shoulder over here, a big head, or you can look at it like a cup with handle. So you can just see this there. So this is how it looks, right? And if you look at it, this had given a breakout over here, and then it fell apart again. Then it gave a breakout, and then it actually even confirmed the breakout. It went up as well, retested it, and this was in the retesting phase. It fell down due to the election results, and it's gone back up again, and it probably retesting this. So this line over here you see is been a resistance and has been a support, and now it's again back to being a resistance. But yeah, I see the fundamental supporting this going up. It's pretty clear that you can see the resistance here as well. So when this does, you see, it will again see. I'm not SEBI registered. I'm not a SEBI registered analyst, and this is only for educational purposes. But the fundamentals clearly indicate that this stock will move up because there's no other way for it to go. I mean, how low can the valuation go? It's already at an PE of 9. How much lower will it go? Will it go to a PE of 5, 6, and it'll become like extremely great value? So let's just have a look at this potential that it has right now. The potential that it has here is in this around 312 is what the potential is. About 60% from this resistance point. So what I would suggest you is to pick up a small, probably, again, this is not a recommendation, but what I would do is probably pick something up once it breaks this resistance line, a small quantity, because that would be a time to pick it up because here what can happen is you can probably go here, come back again, go here. So you would be spending a lot of time. I mean, your capital would be allocated to this. Or I don't know, you can probably try that as well. Sometimes it can just break out, and you can probably miss that big move, when it does that. Probably deploy one-fourth of the capital or half the capital. It depends on your understanding. If you feel very confident, I would always deploy half and then probably a little bit more after the breakout. Sometimes I would even deploy my whole capital if I'm very confident in the stock. But you should never be too confident in something because that is what actually can hurt you. So probably half or one-fourth. And then once this breakout happens at any point, you can deploy the rest. Because then it's going to move pretty fast. Like you can see this moved pretty fast. Then what happened is it broke down because of the election results, and it was breaking down, I guess, because there was some booking of profits in the small cap sector that was happening at one point. So, but the pattern is very clear, and where it's going to go is pretty clear. So I think this is a great opportunity, and it's a great time to buy this actually. The second stock I was actually looking at is IDFC First Bank. The reason I saw this is something of a short-term kind of a thing, it's not too long-term. Now, if you tell me definitely that PE is very high compared to other banks, and it is, even compared to the bigger banks and even the smaller banks, it is pretty high. The reason being that this is growing actually pretty fast. So if you see their the amount of branches they're adding on is pretty decent. Now coming on to the sales growth, you can see they're actually growing pretty well. If you compare this to maybe let's see something, I would compare this to HDFC Bank because this is going to be the future HDFC Bank, right? This is how HDFC Bank was at one point. This is the HDFC Bank maybe 15, 20 years back. So you can see HDFC Bank is like the best, right? It's one of the best banks, the high you can have. It's one of those too big to fail, but this is pretty much trying to keep up, right? Imagine keeping up with such a big bank being so small in terms of growth. So they're doing great. I mean, then they're definitely going to add more branches. And I think this is a good potential. This is going to be a good bank in the future. I see some good potential in this bank, and it's really small for this size. I mean, if you compare to any other bank, like if you look at the size of HDFC, you'll be shocked as to how small this is. So this is a good place for it. I mean, it's good potential, but the reason I'm looking at this right now in short term is it's made some kind of a breakout. Let me just open that. It's given some kind of a breakout. Let's open IDFC first and let me show you what I saw. So let's see where it's coming from first of all. Okay. It gave us this pattern earlier. It did this. You can see that. Okay, there was this cup with this handle. There was accumulation happening over here, and then there was a breakout and to shake down all the public and all the small guys, and then the reaccumulation happened here, and this is where it went up. And this is the target, right? So it achieved that target and it broke down again. So what I see happening here right now is, let me just get this out here so I can show it to you clearly, is a small break in pattern. Let's zoom in a little bit more. And what I actually want to do is take this timeline, I mean, to a week, so it'll be easier for us to, just if you take it on a much bigger scale, I mean, the time, it's easy to make patterns and to see patterns. So I always suggest you to do that there. Okay, so you see this trend line that has just broken there. So it's 1 second. Let me just see if I got it right. You can take it from here as well. I think this will be better. From that closing, try to break it. It came down. It broke it with decent volume. It's probably going to retest it and probably shoot up from here. Again, probably it can even move sideways and you can probably go down and probably break this and go down and make this its resistance again. So it has touched this once, twice, thrice. This is not touched it, but yeah, three, four, almost 5, 6, 7 times, and it's broken the seventh time. So any trend line that's broken actually more than, I mean, tested more than broken out is pretty good. So at least from here, I see a potential of around here till this point. So maybe another 20%, 25%, depending on how it goes. If it's a strong trend, you can hold on for 20% also, 25. But this will happen. If it will happen, it'll happen in a decent pace. Maybe if even if it happens in 12 months, what's wrong in that? Right? 12 months is not a bad period to get 25%, 24%. Let it take 12 months. Doesn't matter. Just keep it there and forget about it. Again, this is not an investment advice. I'm not a SEBI registered analyst or any kind of financial analyst. This is just for educational purposes only. But I think this is a pretty decent bet. I shouldn't be saying bet. This is a pretty decent investment. This is a good way of looking at it. You'll get this, and again, it's a good time since it's already broken the trend line. This is the retesting. Probably up from here, maybe it might go flat. I mean, it might go sideways for a couple of days or maybe a couple of weeks. Can't say. And probably once, in fact, once the rate cut is going to be announced, it's going to just any all the banking stocks are going to fly. So this is definitely going to hit this. Even looking at the fundamentals, I mean, it can break down. I'm not saying definitely, but it looks like it is going to hit this. Let's go back to the daily chart and see what it's doing on the daily basis. Yeah, as you can see, this is the retesting of that. Let me just get this out of here. So see, it's retesting this. And if you see, it did almost touch this and it went back up. I mean, there are a couple of buyers over here. So I don't see any issue with this. It's a good time. See, you can see it hit touched over here, touched over here, touched over here, touched over here, touched over here. And here's given the breakout. So it's pretty decent. It's retesting this line. It's a good time to look at it. Anyway, these are the two videos, two stocks I had for you in this video. And yeah, do your research and be sure before you invest in anything. And you're putting in your own money. So remember, just think about it. When you go to buy something like a TV or a washing machine or a phone, you do your research, right? You compare it to other things. You compare it with other brands. So compare these stocks with each other. Compare IDFC to whatever it is in that. Compare Suryoday to something in that sector, something close to that. So always make comparisons, see where you'll get better potential, where you can invest your capital wisely. It's very important because this is your hard-earned money, and this is you'll also be opportunity lost if you don't make the money there, right? Just make sure you're making the right investment. These are very simple and easy techniques you can apply. Just nothing, it does not need any, engineering background or, you don't have to be some super smart guy, rocket scientist or anything. A simple guy, even a 10 standard pass can, make these basic conclusions. So yeah, thanks for watching the video. I never say this, but yeah, I guess you guys should start subscribing because I'm going to start putting on videos regularly, which is going to help you increase your wealth because that is what my objective is to increase my wealth and the wealth of everybody who is watching my videos. Thanks.